Hey, hi everyone. So in this video I have put together some exam strategies, tips and tricks for the certified Kubernetes administrator exams. So just to talk a bit about my background, I have successfully passed the Kubernetes application developer administrator as well as security specialist exam. Not once, not twice, but 5 times. So I'll just go through this was certified Kubernetes application developer exam. This was my first exam. It was in 2019, and then I sat for the certified Kubernetes administrator in 2019 again. This was my second exam, and third was certified Kubernetes security specialist. This was in 2021, last year, and this year I have again sat for certified Kubernetes application developer exam since it got expired, and it was on May 2025. Sorry, this year May 22, and it's valid till 2025. And last exam, which was on in June this month, was again certified Kubernetes administrator exam, and this was in June this year, so it's valid till 2025. Yeah, so let's get started with some tips and tricks and how I would come up with a exam strategy and go through like different setup and all, so that I can maximum optimize my score and hopefully get a passing score. Okay, so this is the like a terminal. As you would know that most of the time we will have to work with terminals, so I'll just go through one by one all the commands and an exam strategy tips and tricks. Okay, so first is like a Vimasi file. So I'll just create a Vimasi file from scratch. So I'll just remove the Vimasi file, and I'll show you how it looks without if you don't have any setup in Vimasi. So I've just created a YAML file, and I will open that in Vim. So without any any kind of configuration, this is how it looks. There is no line marker, there's no column marker, there's no line numbering, there's no auto indent that will happen if I make an edit and all. So it will be just like you have to do all these things manually. So I'll just exit out, and if I now this is the Vimasi file which I have created some settings. So here you will see I have created tab stop equal to 2, soft tab stop equal to 2, shift width equal to 2, and this is ET expand tab. So this 4 is like a piece like have it must, and rest all is like additional. So I have given number, auto indent, and this is for the column marker and the line marker. So my file has been Vimasi file has been set up. So now if I open the same file, you will see the change. Okay, so you will see there's a line marker, there's a column marker. This column marker comes very handy because in YAML it's all about indentation. So you will add some content and you have to either indent left or right, but you have to make sure that it all aligns perfectly. So under metadata, these 3 columns should align. Under spec, these should align. Under containers, these should align. And if you add something at the bottom, it's easier to make it out that it's aligned or not. Okay, so let's exit out. Next, I create a alias hd equal to history grep. You can do a control R as well, which is a reverse search history. But if you are new to Linux environment, this will come handy. I will show you at the end of the demo. After that, I will have some commands run. Okay, now next is about file navigation and organization. So what I usually do is I create 20 folders in the terminal, and based on the question number I will get into the folder number, and I will create dummy file, temporary files, and create backup and all in that folder. Once I have finished that question, I will come out and I will go to the next folder number based on the question. So I just created 20 folders. You will see there 20 folders and one YAML file which I just created a few minutes back. So let's say I am in question 1, I will just go to CD1. Let's say I have a question 2, I'll go to CD2, and dot will come out, and then I go to question number 3. So I'll be in, let's say I'm attempting question number 3, I'm inside the folder number 3. Okay, so next is like for my exam, I always create a YAML file with something like 1.yaml, 2.yaml, 3.yaml, because I'm already in the correct folder number, so I can repeat those numbers. So it makes me easier to just like repeat those commands. Like for every question, I will have 1.yaml, 2.yaml, right? So I can just do a control R, reverse search history, or HG alias and repeat those commands very easily. I can just use up and down arrows to repeat my history commands. So I always do it like this, and but I give YAML as well, because syntax highlighting works better in Vim. If you just give 1, 2, 3, it wouldn't work perfectly. So I'll just show you what I mean. So let's say I have to create a pod. So I'll just redirect to 1.yaml. So it has been redirected. So let's say the question asks me to add a label, right? So I'll just go to labels folder, labels, and I'll press O. So I've just, because auto indent, it has came at the right place. Let's say app. I need to add a label app equal to dev. Okay, escape, and then I just press colon X, which is like save and quit. I have just updated that file, and I can just do like this. So for every next question, I can just keep repeating up and down arrow key and repeat those commands if I need to. So my pod Nginx has been created. So I'll just watch it. Let's say okay, it's running now. So let's say I forget to add one more label, right? So what I can do is I can get the YAML, and I got the YAML back. This way I have also made a backup as well. And now I just remember, okay, now I need to add one more label, right? So I'll just add one more label, right? So I'll just do, let's say green. Okay, I added one more label, and I can just do a save and quit. So I have saved and quit that same file which I started with. Then I can just update it. So it has been updated correctly. So next is like you should remember there are 8 clusters in the exam for the administrator exam. So for every question, make sure that you remember to switch to the right context. Otherwise, you will not get any score. So let's say I'll just quickly walk you through the link which you have to so this is the just go through the important instructions for CKA and CKAD exam. So let's say I was referring to this part. So there are actually 8 clusters for the CKA exam. So there are 6 clusters. So K8s, HK8s, BK8s, WK8s, EK8s, and IK8s. And you can see what is the network. So Calico cluster probably would be used for networking questions. And this one which is and they are clearly mentioning that there is a missing worker node. So probably you will have to do something like join the worker or enable some service and make it part of the cluster, right? Restart some service or something, like some component may not be working. So they are already giving hint that one cluster would be specifically meant for that. So this clearly indicates that you must be prepared for this kind of question, because they have put effort into creating a cluster for just one question for a missing worker node. Okay, so just to make my point even more, I have just given this will not work, but we have to use kubectl config use context and one of the 6 context. Okay, so this will not work, but anyway, just to make my point more clearer. So next is like a namespace trick. So namespace trick which I always do for all my Kubernetes exam is whatever question namespace they have asked, I create a variable called n and save the name of namespace as per the question in that n variable, right? So what I can do now is let's say I need to delete that some namespace, so I can just do $n, right? So this namespace, let's say, needs to be deleted. I can do like this. Of course, in the question they will not ask you to delete, but let's say they have asked you to create a namespace. You can just do like this. So after you create a namespace, probably they'll ask you to, let's say, create a pod, right? So you can do like this, like a $n. So so in that way you don't have to do copy paste multiple times, because you'll be juggling around and copying many things, right? So this will create a pod in that particular namespace, right? Okay. And let's say they ask you to edit that particular pod in the same namespace, right? So you can again do like this, right? So let's say they have asked me to add a label, right? So I'll just press O. Let's say I add app equal to dev. Let's say it should be environment, but app equal to dev, right? Okay. I'll just colon X, save and quit. So colon X is always like save and quit. It's like a shortcut. So you can do WQ as well, but if you colon X is like saves you some 1 second probably. Yeah. Okay, so next is like file name trick, like same like namespace trick. The question will ask you, like will give you some file, let's say to refer that file, make create some objects from the file or backup to that particular file, do any kind of operation. Let's say, so what I do, like same like namespace n, like there's a f, I save it to like a f equal, and I will uh, take the file name from the question and save it here. So after this point, I can just refer it as a $f. Let's say I want to take a backup. I'm in the folder number 3. I've just taken a backup, right? So I'm now free to do, if I make any, like I mess up something, I always have a backup. Let's say now after that I need to make some changes, right? I can make some changes, right? Make some changes. Okay, right? Save and quit. Okay, so my file has been saved. Okay. Next is like this one is most important tip for all Kubernetes exam, how to use the help in the command line. So the thing is, like most of the objects identify which objects can be created via command line. So most of the objects can be created via command line, but sometimes it has to be, YAML needs to be taken from the documents first. So I'll go through which objects need YAML first and which can be created through command line. Okay, so what you need to do first, just run this particular command which says that kubectl-h. So what it does is, I'll show you. So it will give you complete help of the kubectl command. Okay. So it gives you so you can see after kubectl you can do a create, you can do an expose, you can do a run, you can set. So create is for all objects, expose is for pods and deployment if you want to create a service, and expose pods and deployment. Run is basically to create a pod, and set is for like setting environment variable, setting memory and CPU resources. So this is the basic, like, and you can just go through it. So what I mean to say is, you can start with here, like if you get a question you don't know how to, like you don't remember, you can start here, right? Explain, get, edit, delete. So this is the entry point, right? Rollout, deployment, scale a deployment. Let's say for the CKA exam, especially top, cordon, uncordon, drain, right? It's all there. Taint, you want to taint a node, so it's all there. Just go through the logs. So let's say you want to take out the logs. So you can take it, like you start there, and then you can just build it on top of that. Let's say expose. I want to see how expose command is used. Okay, so expose -h. So you will see there is an example given. You can just copy paste, like expose deployment. Just use this command, modify it. Expose pod. Let's say use this command, modify it as per the question. If some variables are required, you can just take it, copy paste it, and move forward. So this is the same pattern, right? So create is used for ingress, deployments, service account, role binding, cluster role binding, service account. Okay, there was a repetition. So let's say ingress is a complicated object, right? But if you just do create ingress h, you'll see the example right in front of you, right? So if you just go like scroll upwards, right, how to create a simple ingress object, copy paste this rule. This will be like a host name, what will be the service name, what will be the port, TLS if you need or not. You can remove that part. They have also given like it's in case you need add some annotation, you can add some annotations. So all these things are there. So just copy paste it and work from there. Some cases you don't even have to do any YAML modification. So let's say set kubectl set. So you can set resources, right? So this command gives you how to do set resources. It does have set image, right? If there's a deployment, you have to update the image. So you can just take the example. So let's say set resources. This will be used for setting the memory and CPU requirements. So let's say you have a file and you have to add some limits memory. So you can just copy paste it, redirect to YAML and recreate the resource. Let's say there's a deployment and you have to add the limits and memory. So it's all there, right? Okay. Resources, all the examples are there, how it should be taken, like request, CPU, memory. So you can just take it from there. Next is how to check the logs, right? So logs example is also there, right? You just take logs, -c is for container, and you just mention the container name and the pod name, and this and you can check the logs. You can remove the -f, for example. We don't want streaming logs, right? -f for streaming, or maybe like follow, right? So drain, if you want to drain, so it's all there, right? Just copy paste and uncordon, right? It's very simple command, uncordon node name, and there is some extra flags. And scale a deployment. So scale, basically we just need to pass the replicas and the deployment name depending on the question. So top, so let's say I want to see top, how top needs to be used. So they clearly say top can be used only for node and pod. So okay, so let's say I build on top, so I do top pod. Now when I see top pod, I have some example. I can pass the pod name, containers, and all those things, right? So I need to build on, like, I see sort by, right? How do you sort by? So they clearly say sort by except CPU memory. So that means you have to just pass in one variable, right? Okay, next is like a network policy. So just to network policy need YAML first. It cannot be done imperatively at this moment. So I'll just open a URL for the network policies, right? It's important that you know before the exam which command can be like need YAML first, or can be solved imperatively. So let's say for network policy there's a break on the documentation, there's a network policy. So all maybe you have to do is like copy paste this whole thing, paste it into Vim editor and modify it as per the question. Okay. So next is like, let's say storage classes, persistent volume and persistent volume claim. This also need YAML first, right? So all you have to do is go to the documentation link and find the relevant piece, like that's a storage class, how to create. So there's no other way at this moment. And next is like persistent volume, same thing. You have to check out the documentation, and you have to find the relevant bits and pieces to create persistent volume claim, how to attach that to a pod. You have to like take it one by one, right? Okay. Next is like this is less important, but sometimes it can come handy, like explain commands. So if you are like you are not sure of some field, where does it go, how does it look like, you don't remember the how exact syntax because it's all case sensitive, right? So you can use explain command. So usually all objects have a .spec, which is like specification, right? So the field usually goes into spec, but if you don't find it in spec, you can check in metadata, like something like labels and all annotations, they will go in metadata. So let's say resource quota .spec, right? So this is how it looks like. You can take a long version as well, but it's not needed sometimes. So if it's very long, it may not be required. So same like limit range, let's say .spec. So you can clearly say for limit range there's only 5 fields, like default request, max, min, type, and max limit request ratio. So if you want to like quickly fix some bug or some issue when you create an object, right? So this is for node. Let's say you can take a full and you can do a node spec. Let's say I'm sure like this is a pod and I need to add some node selector and all, so I can do like this, right? I can just do a grep, and I have given -i for case insensitive search, and I want to see how does it look like. Okay, so I can say like node selector, so S needs to be capital, so I can just copy paste it in my pod to make it work, right? This will come handy in case you want like something small need to be fixed and it's failing. You are creating an object, it's failing because of like a capitalization, it's not properly capitalized, and also let's say deploy.spec also have node selector, right? So in those tight situation it can come handy, and you can do something like -c3, like let's say you want some fields around it. So C is like above and below, so it will give 7 fields. Let's say I'm looking for pod.spec and I know there's an empty dir or something, I remember from my studies, right? So, but I'm not sure how does it look like. So I can do empty dir and I can see 3 fields above and 3 below it. So this will give me altogether 7 fields around it. And next step is like don't abandon a command if you don't intend to use it immediately. So what I mean is like let's say you have typed out a very long command and you just need to check something, right? So let's say I'm doing a HCDL backup or something. There's a very long command which I have just typed out. I have I check the documentation, I copy pasted relevant bits one by one, and then I realize, okay, I need to check something, right? So don't delete it. What I'm saying is you can just press Control A and go to the start and add a hash. So this will become a comment, right? So if I do like this, it has become a comment, but if I press enter, it will be in history. So I just check something, right? I can create, let's say I go to /tmp, I need to check if the file is there or not, something of that sort, right? And now it's in history, right? So once I check something, I can rerun that command, remove the hash, and rerun that particular command. Next is like be comfortable with Systemctl command line tool. Like it's basically used to run some service, enable some service, restart some service. And for those kinds of questions, usually the exam will tell you whether you can do sudo -i to become root. If it's possible, definitely do that. That will save you some time. So this is some commands which I am running. It will not work because I'm on my my laptop, but it will definitely work on Linux environment. So this is the command how it does, like Systemctl. It's a tool for managing services, same like in Windows we have Service Manager. Status kubelet. Kubelet is the name of service, so it will give me whether kubelet is running or not, right? So I'll just run few more commands. Let's say enable. Let's say I want to enable the service. Same like in Windows, automatically start the service on Windows logon. This is to enable that service on Unix startup. Start the service, right? And stop the service. Sometimes we have to daemon reload if you make some changes, and restart if you have just made some config changes. And next is Vim tips, right? So I just go 3 tips in this particular video. So most important Vim tip that is like for all exam is like Shift C, because YAML is all about key value pairs. So we never change the key, but we always change the value, right? So what I mean to say, let's say the question asks you to change the name of the container, right? So when you run it imperatively, the name automatically comes from the pod name. But let's say question asks you to change the name of container as container1, right? So let's say I have come to Nginx. I need to come to exact position where I need to make a change. Press Shift C. Now I'm in insert mode, and I need to pass in the container name. Let's say container1. Now press Escape key, and I have made my changes, and I can just do :x, right? So the YAML file has been saved. Next tip is like about, let's say you want to copy paste lines of code from you basically duplicate few lines of code, right? So this is the pattern. We do Shift V, which is like a capital V, then we use arrows, then Y for copy, and go to the line after which you want to copy, and P, small p for the paste. So I'll just show you what I mean. Let's say the question asks you to create 2 containers, but of different type, right? So first is Shift V, so basically capital V. So Shift V will visual block mode. Now arrow keys, right? I take 3 lines. Okay. Now I need to press Y. Y is for copying, which is for yank, and you will see 3 lines yank at the bottom. Now exact location where I need to paste, I go here. Let's say below this line I need to paste. I need to press small p. I press small p. So my my changes have been saved, and what I can do now is, let's say I need to say change, let's say, this image to a different image, right? I can do like this, and container should be different, right? So let's add container 2. Okay, so all my changes are there now, and I can exit out, save and quit. So :x. So it has been saved. Third tip is basically how to do indentation in the YAML file through Vim. So this is the pattern. Again, Shift V for visual block mode, then arrows to add more blocks, and then use angle bracket left or right depending on the indentation which you want, and then press dot to repeat. So I'll show you. So I'm in the same file. Let's say they have asked me to let's say add some volumes, right? So I'm not sure where the volumes need to be added, right? Let's say I come here. Okay, I add volumes. Okay, and volume name. Okay, I add vol, and the next is let's say persistent volume claim. Okay, right, and claim name. Okay, and I have a claim name with my claim, right? I have added these 4 lines, right? But I'm not sure. When I create this object, this is failing. Now I need to indent it. Probably it's mostly indentation, or I have copy pasted from the documentation, right? So now for indentation, as I said, like Shift V. So I'm in visual block mode, and arrow key down, 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 right? And I need to indent it to the left, right? So press angle bracket. So it has gone 1 level. So if I do dot, it will go 1 more level. So let's say I want to move it right. So again, Shift V, down, 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 and right hand side angle bracket. And now if I want to repeat, press dot. Dot is for repeating the last previous command. So it can go this side, but indentation is not changing. It's going. It's not moving the. It's keeping the structure intact. So again, I will move it to the right place. So Shift V, down, 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 left angle bracket, and then dot for repeating the last previous command. So 1, 2, 3, keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going, and it should exactly at this place the volumes, right? So I'll just save and quit at this point. So I have made my changes. So there are many Vim tips and tricks, but these 3 I remember, like, it came very handy. Next is like SSH gymnastic. Like, you must know, like, for the administrator exam, like, you have to log into multiple nodes and do some changes. Let's say you can do kubectl get node to see the nodes. The name is exactly as per it shows. So you want to SSH, you have to give the name of the node, and then you can become sudo if they allow you to. So, and once you become a sudo, you need to remember that you need to exit. Then you will exit sudo, and you have to type exit 1 more to come back to the client terminal from where you have started, right? Okay, so last thing is I talked about. Let's say I need to run some command, right? If you are comfortable with control R reverse search, please go ahead and do that. But if you are new to Linux and all, this is like history grep. So I have run some command. Let's say I want to go back and rerun that. So I can just do like this. So I can see some of the commands which I ran. So I want to rerun it, right? So you can just copy paste command C, command V. You can do like this, right? Okay, and I'll exit, but I don't need to make any change. Another trick is, like, you can do bang, and once you bang, like a exclamation mark, we call it bang, and you can take the number here, and you can take the number from here. Let's say I'll just type it out, 10715. So this will basically run that particular command. So you can see it has run that command. So this was there are 2 ways to rerun any previous command. So yeah, guys, so this was like a video on my exam strategy tips and tricks. So as you know, there are two attempts. So basically, hopefully you will pass in the first attempt, but if not, you should pass in second attempt with all these tips and tricks, and probably use some of your own tips and tricks. So wish you all the luck, and yeah, this probably was a long video. Please like, share, subscribe, and comment. Till then, see you. Bye.